I think it makes sense to bring in somebody who actually understands how to run an advertising platform. So either he's, Tom Brady in the fourth quarter, like during the Super Bowl, or he's going to just fuck it up and this shit's going to flop. But I guess that's why he's a billionaire. He'll figure it out, or just, I guess, continue to lose a shit ton of money. Will Twitter become cash flow positive, or will they go bankrupt? I know this question you guys have all been waiting to get answered, so I'll be giving you my perspective on that today. And yes, we are diving back in the never-ending saga that is Twitter right now, because it has everything: heroes, villains, unverified or verified royals, Saudi princes, debt, drama, cheating, just every single scandal, just all in this one social media app. I'm thinking one day they might make a movie from this shit. But that's what we're going to be discussing today, so let's dive in. In recent news, Elon just fired the Twitter Blue lead that he just promoted. So I'm watching all this happen because clearly I'm invested in Twitter. I shouldn't be invested in Twitter, but for whatever reason, I am invested in Twitter because it's just a small slice of what's happening in the broader social media industry. So it's kind of good to follow from that perspective. Watching all this drama brought a question to mind. If Elon just fired his lead and Twitter Blue is not going to be one of the main revenue streams or one of the main vehicles that Twitter's going to use to become cash flow positive, now what? What's going to happen? What other ideas does Elon have in order to move Twitter in the right direction? A month or two ago, there was an article in The Verge that mentioned, Esther Crawford, who was one of the lauded Twitter employees. She was going to be taken over as the lead of Twitter Blue. I think, Olivia, you're talking about some of the stuff that's happening on there now.
Oh God, it's wild. Like I was telling you earlier, there's the whole element of trust of people you used to follow on Twitter and look for news and stuff like that is just gone. There's people buying Twitter Blue to impersonate others, and it's just, you don't know who you're reading these days, and it's wild.
And it makes it hard to advertise. I mean, that's a wild story that you told me about the princes. Like, somebody bought Prince Harry and Prince William, and they were talking shit.
Royals are talking shit to each other. There's famous people having fake beef with each other as well, or spilling the tea, and it's just insane. And just Twitter advertising just isn't the same anymore. It's the whole interest of Twitter is just gone. It's completely screwed up the platform in my mind.
And the sad part is that Twitter, the advertising piece was actually the main component that made it money. And then the community around Twitter, I mean, that's what you told me you loved about it, is what made you go go back to it. But you get people who aren't even people, fake companies, fake news sites. Then all of a sudden it's really not interesting because you're really getting fake news, fake conversations, and who knows what hackers trying to get your information and all the other shit that can possibly happen.
Yeah, it's opening up the possibility of getting scammed and also just spreading way more information than there needs to be. And there are a lot of people out there that will believe what they read online and not look into the source that's coming from.
I don't know whether this is just Facebook. One of the things I read that was kind of funny was the fact that I guess to leverage verification, you need to pay for two-factor authentication. So pretty much you're telling me my account's open to scammers unless I pay you, whatever the amount is. That's insane. We're going to take away all the base shit that every social media account does. We're going to charge you for that. Or, shoulder shrug. If you get scammed, you just get scammed.
And the fact that Twitter once used to be a really good platform is it's disappointing to see, really. So
as you can see, shit went south quickly. Twitter's not going well. And I guess in all fairness, back to Esther Crawford, she was doing the best that she could, right? She definitely let us know on Twitter that her team was working late and that she was on it and she was doing the best that she could. So with all this attention to Twitter Blue, I got super curious. Sure, Twitter Blue was launching, or I guess relaunching, but what's the main value prop for the end user? Why should people actually give a shit or pay money to Twitter, right? And I think that's what we're still trying to figure out. What's the subscription amount?
The subscription for Twitter Blue is $8 a month, and this is what you get. You get to edit your tweets, have a bookmark folder, have custom app icons, an NFT profile picture, a theme, custom navigation, a Spaces tab, an undo tweet, longer video upload, and longer tweets. Oh, and two-factor authentication. That's it. Oh, and the blue tick. Don't forget about that.
The blue tick can be stolen. Or I guess Yeah, because people who are buying the verified or buying the blue tick are the ones that are getting like hacked or whatever. So even that, so then the authentication doesn't really work well, right? Or it hasn't worked well in the past to gain enough trust.
Really, you're getting nothing for $8 a month.
With that said, right, so now that we've exposed Twitter Blue for the scam that it is, and I know there are a ton of Elon fans out there, maybe you guys can post in the comments, right, what you love about Twitter Blue and why you're paying the $8 a month. Because last time I checked, the numbers were 290,000 people were subscribed to Twitter Blue, 180,000 in the US. What's interesting about Twitter Blue to where it made sense to subscribe? I'm just curious. Let us know in the comments. Twitter's trying to figure out the business model, right? These interest payments that Twitter has to make to the banks, every 90 days, they keep adding up. The thought process is simple here, right? Like at some point, these interest payments are going to catch up with Elon and Twitter. And that's probably going to happen around the 1 year mark. Because the last time I checked, they had like $1 billion in the bank. And I guess, what is he going to do then? Will Twitter become cash flow positive before that deadline happens? Or will they go bankrupt first? Interesting to think about, right? If we put ourselves in Elon's shoes, right, he's trying to do a couple of things. He's trying to figure out like how to get the company cash flow positive, stop burning through his Tesla funds or extra funds that he has. But I think it's going to be super difficult since there isn't like a revenue model that's really working like in place right now. Yes, there's advertisers and that model was working, but he fucked that up. And yeah, like right now he's trying to build this plane in the air or land a plane in the Hudson. Like what I mean by that is you got to look at all the things that are happening behind like the scenes, right? Let's talk about some of the money being lost and some of the money stats currently happening at Twitter. Twitter's losing $8 million a day, and that's coming from Elon. The interest payments on the bank loans that he used to purchase Twitter that are due every year are $1.2 billion. 500 advertisers left the platform in December with their revenue, right? So all that revenue that they were getting that helped them become cash flow positive a few years ago is now gone. And then from my understanding, right, the last time I saw the number, I think Twitter had like roughly like $1 billion in the bank. So these are just some of the things that are happening. While all this is happening, Elon's trying to figure out how to become cash flow positive. So either he's, Tom Brady in the fourth quarter, like during the Super Bowl, or he's going to just fuck it up and this shit's going to flop. But I guess that's why he's a billionaire. So if anybody's going to figure it out, he'll figure it out, or just, I guess, continue to lose a shit ton of money. All right, so let's talk about some of the added pressure of none of this working out. All right, right now, Twitter Blue has 180,000 US subscribers, 290,000 globally. So in order for the platform to be profitable via subscribers, they would need 15 million subscribers. Earlier in this video, right, we kind of shared with you some of the value of signing up for Twitter Blue, and it doesn't seem like it's much there, right? Like it's just like, yeah, it's not worth it, to put it bluntly. So since the Twitter Blue plan is going to be a wash, at least for the next 2 years, Elon/Twitter really needs to go back and woo advertisers. Why? Because the last time Twitter was profitable, it was due to advertisers. Why he, fucked up the advertising format and platform in the first place? You're going to have to ask Elon that one. I think that's the question we're all trying to figure out. But if this trend continues, and by trend I mean Twitter Blue not ramping up like expected, advertisers having a difficult time advertising on Twitter due to security, verification implications, and everything else is going on. The options that Elon has is to sell more Tesla stock, or Twitter's going to head for bankruptcy. I think selling more Tesla stock is the obvious path. So let's touch on the bankruptcy piece of the equation, right? So he would have to file for Chapter 11. And what Chapter 11 would do is allow him the ability to restructure the debt that Twitter currently has. Now, with that said, like what are some of the downsides of Chapter 11 bankruptcy? He would have to relinquish some control and then figure out like what to do next from there. Elon currently has 79% equity in Twitter. So obviously that would be at stake. And then there's also a ton of banks and investors that might have to write down some of the debt, right? So Elon might lose some equity. Banks and investors might lose or might have to restructure, do something with some of the debt, or write down some of the debt, restructure and push out those payments to years on out to give Twitter enough time to grow. But after that, Twitter, who knows? Twitter might come back stronger than ever. My conclusion is super simple, right? Will Twitter become profitable or have to file for bankruptcy? Looks like they're not going to become profitable in the next year or two. They're going to have to file for bankruptcy, or they can escape that if Elon decides to sell more Tesla shares. So yes, anticlimactic, but at some point, like no matter how rich you are, you're gonna run out of money if you just keep doing shit like this, just kind of burning through cash. All right, so what are my takeaways? How do you become a millionaire? You have billions of dollars and then buy Twitter. No, that was a joke. Probably best to figure out your path to profitability without a gun being pointed at your head or losing $8 million a day, which is absolutely insane to me, right? Like, I think a lot of this could have been avoided if there was more thought put into purchasing Twitter and how he was going to get Twitter profitable. Another takeaway, this made me think about the Warren Buffett point of buying businesses and stocks with a certain margin of safety. Like, now I see why. Because when you're buying a business, you don't know all the complications or problems you're going to come across. But if you bought it with enough room, right, or enough margin, then you can still become, cash flow positive or have, tons of equity where it's not your own money relatively quickly. Clearly, he didn't do that in this scenario. And so, yeah, he's just burning through cash right now. Last takeaway. So Elon just has to widen his circle of competence. I think it makes sense to bring in somebody who actually understands how to run an advertising platform and bring on new customers instead of, fucking that platform up or that revenue stream up. Because that's the revenue stream that's going to get Twitter moving in the right direction or cash flow positive before any one of these other ventures actually does that. And let me know what you think about this video. If you like content like this, you want to see more like it, would love to get your thoughts on whether you think Elon, Twitter's going to rise and they're going to become profitable eventually, and if so, when, or if they're going to go into bankruptcy, get restructured, and then figure it out from there. If you like content like this, make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.